Most people don't hate learning. What they really hate is the way they've been taught to learn. Long hours at a desk, reading the same page over and over, trying to force the brain to absorb information. It feels like punishment. And when studying feels like punishment, it's only natural to avoid it. But here's the surprising truth. Studying doesn't have to feel like suffering. In fact, it can become something you actually look forward to. Look at Japanese students. Around the world, they're admired for their discipline and their ability to focus. It's not that they're magically smarter or more motivated. It's that they use systems and habits that make studying easier, more natural, and even addictive. And today, I'm going to share with you 5 proven hacks inspired by Japanese students that can transform the way you approach studying. But before we dive into the hacks, let me tell you a story. The story of Minato. Minato was an ordinary student in Tokyo. He wasn't naturally at the top of his class. He got distracted. He procrastinated. He scrolled through his phone when he should have been revising. Sound familiar? One day, his teacher introduced him to a method that would change his life. Instead of studying for hours without end, Minato was told to set a timer for just 25 minutes. After those 25 minutes, he could rest for 5 minutes, then repeat. At first it felt strange, but soon he noticed something powerful. He was studying more in those short bursts than he ever had in hours of half-distracted effort. This wasn't magic, it was psychology, and it's our first hack. Hack 1. Time-boxed focus. This method is often called the Pomodoro Technique, originally developed in Italy, but it's widely used in Japan because it matches their culture of structured learning. Why does it work? Studies from the University of Illinois show that short, timed breaks actually restore focus, preventing mental fatigue. When your brain knows a break is coming, it stops resisting. Instead of thinking, I have to study forever, your brain thinks, I only need to focus for 25 minutes. And here's the fascinating part. The more you repeat this cycle, the more your brain starts craving those 25-minute sprints. It feels like a game. Hack 2. Rituals that trigger the brain. In Japan, students often begin studying with small rituals. It could be tidying their desk, sharpening a pencil, or preparing a cup of green tea. These aren't random habits. They're psychological cues. Charles Duhigg, in his book The Power of Habit, explains that habits form in 3 steps: cue, routine, and reward. Japanese students are masters of using cues. The ritual tells the brain, now it's time to focus. You can design your own ritual. Maybe it's putting on the same playlist every time you study, or opening a specific notebook. Over time, your brain will start linking that ritual with deep focus, making it easier to switch into study mode. Hack 3. Kaizen. Small steps, big results. One of Japan's most famous philosophies is Kaizen, which means continuous improvement. Instead of massive overnight change, Kaizen is about tiny, daily steps that compound over time. For studying, this means not overwhelming yourself with 5-hour sessions on day 1. Start small, maybe just 2 Pomodoro cycles, then gradually build. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, emphasizes this same principle. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Kaizen is about building a system of small wins that eventually make studying second nature. And here's the kicker. Progress is addictive. Once you feel it, your brain wants more. Hack 4. Micro rewards that keep you hooked. Japanese students often create small, satisfying rewards after study sessions. Maybe it's stretching, sipping tea, or checking off a task in their planner. Why does this matter? Because every time you complete a study cycle and reward yourself, your brain releases dopamine. Dopamine isn't just about pleasure, it's about motivation. It teaches your brain, do this action again. In psychology, this is called a feedback loop. And once that loop is established, studying no longer feels like something you have to do. It feels like something you want to do. Hack 5. Community energy. If you've ever walked into a Japanese library or study hall, you'll notice something. Rows of students sitting together in silence, each absorbed in their work. This is more than discipline. It's the power of collective energy. Social psychologists call this social facilitation, the idea that we perform better when others are around us, even if they're not directly interacting with us. Just the presence of other focused people boosts your own focus. You don't need to move to Tokyo to feel this. Join a virtual study group, find an accountability partner, or even stream yourself studying live. Suddenly, studying feels less lonely and more like being part of a shared mission. The emotional takeaway. Now, imagine this. What if studying no longer felt like punishment? What if it felt natural, even addictive? The truth is, you don't need to rely on raw willpower. You can build systems, just like Japanese students do, that make focus flow naturally. And once that happens, studying stops being a battle and starts becoming a rhythm. So the real question is, which of these hacks will you try first? Will it be the Pomodoro cycles, the small rituals, the Kaizen approach? Whichever you choose, remember, it's not about giant leaps. It's about small steps that compound over time. If this video resonated with you and you're ready to transform the way you study, subscribe to Wake Up and Conquer.